before the demand hits. If windows are in your future, Gravina's Window Center of Littleton offers Infinity by Marvin fiberglass windows built for strength, efficiency, and long-term value. And this February, you'll save 25% plus enjoy 12 months zero-interest financing. Visit windowsforyourhome.com or call them at 303-794-0490.
You're listening to Sports Talk Radio at work. So is your competition. So are your customers. Denver sports fans don't half listen. They argue. They text in. They remember stats from 1998. They remember who sponsors their obsession. Audio, video, or online. We've got every angle covered. DenverSports.com. Make your move.
Still haven't filed your taxes? You're not alone, but the longer you wait, the harder the IRS can hit back. Penalties, interest, letters, none of it goes away on its own. At Advanced Tax Solutions, resolving IRS problems is all they do. Whether you're a year behind or 10, their licensed tax professionals can step in fast, stop the stress, and help you get back on track. Don't let another day slip by. A quick call could mean a quick resolution. Contact my friends at Advanced Tax Solutions today and take control of your tax situation before the IRS does.
Denver counts on Fix-It 24/7 for heating and plumbing with legendary service. Proud partner of the Denver Broncos and proud to serve the community. Book now at fixmyhome.com.
KKFN and KKFN HD1 Longmont, Denver. You're listening to Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Welcome to Denver Sports Tonight, taking a look at the biggest stories in Denver sports. From your online home for the best opinions and information on the Broncos, Nuggets, Avalanche, Rockies, and more. DenverSports.com.
And it is Denver Sports Tonight on this Tuesday night in the Mile High City. He's Danilo Pirro. I'm Will Peterson. We will roll with you for the next hour as the dust, the confetti of the 2025 NFL season settles down. Super Bowl has come and gone. Seahawks world champions beat up on the Patriots. Let's begin there, Anilo. First time you and I have been on air together since Super Bowl 60. Obviously, we're always going to tie this back to the Broncos. So what were some of your biggest takeaways from the football game and how they apply to the Broncos, either in terms of what they need, potential adding from either squad? I'm thinking of one name, of course, the MVP, Kenneth Walker, or sort of just how the Seahawks got there and why the Broncos fell short. What did you walk away from Sunday thinking about that game and thinking about our team?
Yeah, a couple of different thoughts from the game. First and foremost, big picture, the New England Patriots were always fraudulent, in my opinion, and they finally got the rubber met the road eventually with them as they got slaughtered in that game. Now, it was a game there for a little while. Seattle kicking field goals left and right. You felt like if Drake May can make a pass or two, they're going to be in the game. That obviously did not come to fruition, but I was talking about it with our guy James earlier this week, and it makes you think, like, if Bo Nix is playing in the game, I'm not going to come out here and say, oh, Denver's going to win that going away. I think Denver would have had a real shot. I do think Jared Stidham may have actually put up a better performance potentially than what Drake May did.
Interesting.
May was stat padding there at the end of the game, not like on a purposefully, but like you look at his 200-plus passing yards, this and that. The first three quarters, I think he had under 100 passing yards at one point. I saw coming out of halftime as well. So, look, New England, give credit where credit is due to a certain extent. You play who's on your schedule. They took advantage of the weakest schedule since the 1999 St. Louis Rams they were back then. But, as it pertains to the Denver Broncos, you bring up Kenneth Walker. You saw what a consistent running game can do to kind of control the outcome and flow of an overall performance. And, heck, man, I would have loved to have seen that Denver defense and Seattle defense square off. I know they're never going to square off against each other directly because they're both defenses, but I think Denver's defense could have gone pound for pound with Seattle in that matchup.
Yeah, definitely. Sam Darnold didn't have a huge day by any stretch of the imagination. I did think Sam Darnold was more nimble than I expected. It felt like he just kept dodging sack after sack after sack.
He threw a couple balls that were turnover worthy as well.
Yeah, no, he had a couple that were pick six. I was just, or potential pick six. I was just impressed with his ability to avoid sacks, not necessarily his completion percentage or dominating the game or anything like that. But I had two thoughts during the game, and I think we're on the same page. And I can't wait to dive a little more into your Stiddy thought there because I do disagree with that. But one, there's no way Bo Nix and the Broncos offense would have looked that anemic. And therefore, it just made me even more mad that Bo broke his ankle. And two, Bo breaking his ankle gifted the Patriots a spot in the Super Bowl, and the moment was way, way, way too big for New England. Because you can look at the box score, you can look at the final score. We all watched the same game. It was 19-0. It was over when A.J. Barner scored that touchdown. Much like Patrick Mahomes padded his stats last year against the Eagles, that game was, 40-6 at one point? It was over. 19-0, they didn't have enough firepower to come back in that football game. 19-7, they made it a little interesting, then Drake threw a bad pick. But those were my two biggest takeaways. Broncos would not have looked that bad with Bo Nix. And, oh, by the way, the Patriots actually didn't belong on that stage. They got a massive gift that was completely out of their control in Bo snapping his ankle in overtime against the Bills.
Yeah, 100%. And look, I got a buddy who's a Patriot fan, and you best believe I was chirping him as soon as that game ended. I was like, how does it feel to be a fan of a fraudulent team? Because that was kind of the consensus, I feel like, for most football fans that aren't Patriot fans that I talked to, of like, they can't keep getting away with this, right? It was like you were waiting for the bottom to fall out with this New England team. I was surprised the point spread held at 4.5 as well, just for conversation's sake, because I think on paper, Seattle, pound for pound, was the better team entering into this matchup. And look, my buddy actually sent me like a video of Drake May walking into the stadium right before the game and head down. Like, he looked shook before the game even started, and that translated to on the field. He never looked comfortable. Nobody on New England, on their offense in particular, made a legitimate game-changing type of play. Like, that offense was the definition of sleepwalking. But I agree with you. Bo Nix is out there, man. Again, I'm not going to come out and say the Broncos win the game, but I think it's pretty darn close.
Yeah, I think it's really competitive, especially if Seattle was settling for field goals, because Bo would have eventually burned them, because we saw that all year. And, yeah, Drake had the one to Mac Hollins, and then, most people were in bed. He had another one to Ramondre Stevenson at the very end, but the game was certainly out of question at that point. All right, let's talk about this Stidham thing. You think that Jarrett Stidham would have given a better fight than the guy who came one vote short of MVP?
I mean, how much worse could Drake May have possibly played in the game? How much worse could
his
any
O-line
quarterback
was
play?
Terrible.
Yeah, Will Campbell's getting destroyed on social media. What was he, the 4th overall pick?
Yeah, and did you hear that the Seahawks defender said he had a tell? Did you hear what the tell was?
No.
Every time it was a pass play, Will Campbell couldn't stop shaking at the O-line. Think about that. Dude can't hold a stance. It's like, you see someone and if they're nervous or whatever, but he was so nervous that when it was run, he at least all he had to do was just, put his head down and block. But when it was pass, he's thinking, I'm going to get Drake sacked. I'm going to get Drake sacked. And the anxiety kind of overcame him, and he was shaking. I don't even think it was said in jest. I think it was true that they're like, hey, that dude, I don't know his number.
Wow.
What, it's 74, whatever. 74 shaking, they're passing.
Right.
So, listen, I'm not going to be the guy who defends Drake May. He was terrible in that football game. But, come on, man. He came one vote short of MVP, and Jarrett Stidham, puff his chest, Jarrett Stidham, only managed 7 points in the AFC title game. I'm not sure he gets to more than 7 against that Seahawks defense.
Yeah, maybe, but I also look at the whole picture, right? I think the Broncos' offensive line would have been better than the Patriots' offensive line. I also think, I'm not trying to say the snow is the reason why Denver lost that game, but I would have been curious to see if Stidham could have settled into any sort of a groove if the weather did not play a factor into that game. And look, you saw the Marvin Mims pass early in the game as well. Sean Payton with an extra week of preparation. I guess the point that I'm trying to make is I don't think a quarterback could have played worse than Drake May played in that game. To your point, the stat padding at the end, the stat line is not resemblant of how Drake May played in that matchup. In theory, only up from here is kind of the thought that I have.
Yeah, and
if Dobbins is back.
Yeah, I'm not trying to bag on Stidham. Drake May did have a heck of a resume type regular season.
But a terrible postseason.
His playoffs were not good. Couldn't crack 100 yards in Denver, which makes it hurt that much more. So then what were your emotions when Seattle won? Because I saw a lot of Broncos fans saying, if the Patriots had won, I would have been inconsolable. Because I would have thought my Lombardi got absolutely robbed. But because Seattle won and won in dominant fashion, it didn't sting as much, perhaps? Like, what was going through your mind? Because I kind of fell in that category of, if New England wins the Super Bowl, I'm going to be sick to my stomach. But if Seattle wins and they win convincingly, I'm going to say, okay, it would have been fun to be there. It would have been fun to see what happened, but I'm not sure we were having a parade tomorrow or Thursday. Think about that. Seattle's having a parade tomorrow.
Yeah.
We could all be going downtown for a parade here in the next 24, 48 hours. Certainly not going to happen. But, yeah, what was your emotions with the Seahawks winning the game as a Broncos observer?
Yeah, it just kind of felt like the one that got away. And, again, there's no guarantee that they win that game, but you think if Bo's out there that they're going to be competitive, right? It's probably going to be a field goal type of game. it's interesting because the first half, like, let's just swap the Patriots for the Broncos in the first half, assuming Bo's healthy. Would we be surprised if it was 12-6 going into halftime? I mean, that was the script that we saw from this Broncos team so many times throughout the course of the regular season, where they'd come back in the second half and put up points left and right and win in thrilling fashion. And so it was frustration, but also at the same time, it's the reality. And I think selfishly, like, I don't like the New England Patriots, not just because of what they did to the Broncos, but I don't think I could stomach seeing New England win another championship in my lifetime. And also, less Broncos related, I was happy for Sam Darnold. I mean, that was one of the coolest kind of comeback stories. This is a guy who went from seeing ghosts as the quarterback of the New York Jets to hoisting a Lombardi trophy. So a lot of different emotions. I think the fact that it was so finite with Bo being out that I was able to kind of not numb myself, but it didn't feel as bad because it's not like you lost like the Bills did when they came here, right? If you're a Bills fan, you're probably sick to your stomach more so than the Broncos fan, maybe in a different way. Whereas I think reality kind of set in with me with Bo at that point.
Interesting. Will Campbell's number 66, by the way. Some texters upset I don't know Will Campbell's numbers. Sorry, I don't stay up at night studying offensive lineman numbers from the New England Patriots. Here's the thing, though, about the Bills comparison. Bills had their shot with their guy healthy. And what did he do? He flew to Denver and turned the football over 5 times, including in overtime and including right before halftime to gift Denver 3 points. Like, Josh Allen, for as great as he is, and he actually had some moments in that football game, had a lot of moments, he couldn't protect the rock. And that's the reason Buffalo's season was over. So if they want to go, oh, that should have been us, I'm sitting here going, you guys had your chance. Your QB was healthy. And I know he had the boot on, whatever, but he would have played in the AFC title game, and he turned the football over 5 times. Whereas the Broncos, something completely out of our control, robbed us from being there. So I actually think the grapes are more sour in Denver, at least for this particular season, than they are in Buffalo.
Yeah, I think it's more so the buildup for Buffalo of like years of shortcoming and just realizing that a team in your division, right, you've been the favorite to come out of that division and compete for a Super Bowl ever since Tom Brady retired. And so, yeah, it's 2 different schools of thought. I will tell you the fan base is probably sick to their stomach, though. The San Francisco 49ers. Because they had to play in 2 Super Bowls against the big, bad Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. And then this one's in their building with the Seattle Seahawks, who were solid and really good defensively, fine on offense, going up against this lifeless New England Patriots team versus the gauntlet they had to go to in 2 Super Bowls against Kansas City. That's the fan base that I think would be most frustrated.
Yeah, no, you're right. Kyle Shanahan still doesn't have a ring, and he might have multiple rings if Brock Purdy and Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and George Kittle were all healthy and they were playing that version of the New England Patriots. But you're right. Instead, they caught prime Mahomes, and they lost both times. All right, you brought up Kenneth Walker. You and I sort of debated on Thursday about positions of need for the Broncos and the running backs. We talked about the Breece Halls and the Tyler Algiers. I'll raise my hand. I'm going to call a mulligan on that segment that you and I did.
Okay.
We should have focused more on Kenneth Walker. I think we kind of glossed over Kenneth Walker, even though he'd been great in the divisional round, great in the NFC title game, but he goes out and wins Super Bowl MVP. I think at this point, man, Kenneth Walker is shooting up my wants and needs list in free agency for the Broncos.
Well, a couple of thoughts there too, right? Yesterday's price is not today's price, and after he goes out there and wins Super Bowl MVP, that price is going up and up and up and up. But I also think, do we really think he's going to leave Seattle? Do we really think the Seattle Seahawks are going to let their Super Bowl MVP? I get that he's a running back. I get that it's diminishing returns after you sign these guys to long-term, big money contract extensions. But that's kind of where I'm at. Is like, I would love Kenneth Walker here. I think, and obviously all things being equal, I'll take a mulligan as well. Of the 3 guys we talked about, Walker, Breece Hall, and Algier, I think Walker naturally is the most attractive option just because of what he did in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl in particular. But I'd be shocked if Seattle lets him go at this point.
Yeah, but money talks, and the Broncos are finally out from that horrific Russell Wilson dead cap hit. They have the richest owner in sports, so they can structure this thing however they want. I mean, I love all these salary cap nerds. You can be a salary cap nerd in the NHL. That's a real salary cap. In the NFL, it's not. You can front load these things with bonuses and whatnot, manipulate the cap. Sean was an expert at it in New Orleans. And, oh, by the way, he's now got owners worth $70 billion. That, to me, is going to be the thing that lures him away, is the almighty dollar. And it might be an overpay. It might be an overpay. But Seattle just won a title. they've got more free agents they're worried about than the Broncos do. You look at the Broncos list of free agents. I mean, with all due respect to Alex Singleton and and John Franklin Myers, like, they're guys I'd like to have back, but they're not guys that Broncos fans are losing sleep over at the end of the day. I think in Seattle, there are free agent priorities that they're like, we have to bring this dude back. I think you go overpay Kenneth Walker with a front-loaded bonus, and you make him a Denver Bronco.
Well, here's the thing. Seattle has nearly more than double the amount of cap space than Denver does entering into this offseason. They got $62 million in effective cap space compared to 24 and change for the Broncos. So factor that in too. And one other thing, not that it's a concern with Kenneth Walker as a player, but when you look at the totality and you look at the fit in the offense, Chris Collinsworth was talking about it a couple of times throughout the course of the broadcast. Kenneth Walker is not a great receiving running back, and we know what Sean Payton loves to do. Pass the ball, swing play, screen play, whatever it might be, utilize the running backs in different ways. So if you're looking at it from that perspective as well, do we believe that Sean Payton, now maybe Davis Webb is calling plays and this changes things up. Are they going to use him as a tried and true every down running back, which he wasn't really in Seattle until Zach Charbonnet got hurt?
Yeah, but Charbonnet getting hurt, I think, sort of elevated Walker into the role maybe he was supposed to be in all along. Like, he proved, how many carries did he have in the Super Bowl? Like 29?
Yeah, he was a workhorse.
Like, he proved he can handle that workload, and obviously he was up for the moment, and he won MVP. So I see what you're getting at there, but I just want good football players.
Yeah.
And guess what? I can teach them how to run routes out of the backfield and catch the ball. Like, if you're not going to pay Kenneth Walker because you go, well, I'm not too sold on his ability as a receiving running back, then that's just bad business. Guy just won Super Bowl MVP and dominated the biggest game in sports. So, to me, man, I think Kenneth Walker is now free agent priority number one, especially with George Pickens likely getting franchise tagged by the Dallas Cowboys. That's been the reports. They may look for a trade. We'll see. But there's not, last year there was like the T. Higgins of the world. And everyone's like, oh, my gosh, T. Higgins. There's not really that name out there to me outside of Kenneth Walker. We'll do our big boards of free agency, right. And I know the 6 to 6 hosts love having those, and they compare them and contrast them, their wish lists, if you will. If I was making a wish list today, Anilo, and maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment because the game we watched 48 hours ago, Kenneth Walker's number one on my wish list for the Broncos, outside of a major wide receiver trade, a Justin Jefferson, a Jamar Chase, that kind of thing.
But let me ask you this. Let's say Kenneth Walker re-signs in Seattle. And let's say Denver gets one of Breece Hall or Tyler Algier. I guess we could use Breece Hall as the example here because I think he's a more proven commodity.
And let's not forget about Travis Etienne Jr. as well. He's in this conversation too.
Let's lump them all in there, right? Those three running backs, Etienne, Algier, and Breece Hall. What is the drop-off, in your opinion, with those three compared to Kenneth Walker?
I think it's significant because Algier always been second fiddle to Bijan. Etienne is very disappointing 2 years ago. He did bounce back a little bit this year. And then Breece Hall, I like Breece Hall, but I also think Breece Hall is a little injury prone. And I think that's something that the Broncos just went down that road with J.K. Dobbins. So I would actually say Walker is a very solid one on that list. And then you've got maybe 2A, 2B, and 2C. How about you?
I don't think it's as significant as you're making it out to be. Look, I think Kenneth Walker, and again, I agree, maybe we are just prisoners of the moment because what he did in the big game. But I think Tyler Algier is a guy that could play. You mentioned he's been second fiddle to Bijan Robinson. I actually think that's something that might be a strength for the Broncos if they were to pick him up. Less wear and tear on the body. He's shown when he gets his opportunities and his touches, he can do stuff with the football in a positive way. I think Breece Hall is one of those names that's sexy. I'm not saying he's overhyped or anything like that, but I think the name is sexier with Breece Hall than it is what you might get on the field. Just maybe that's because of who he's played with the Jets.
He also had that very long touchdown run here in Denver that we all remember a couple seasons ago.
Travis Etienne, who's my guy, I've drafted him in fantasy like 3 or 4 years in a row now.
How'd that work out for you?
This year, pretty good.
Okay.
The year before, not so good. Rookie year was good too.
Yeah.
But if we want to take it at face value, we could. But he came out and said, I think it was after Jacksonville clinched the playoffs, that he's like, God bless me by putting me in a warm weather state. And I understand that Denver's not exactly freezing cold except for, the AFC Championship game. But that does kind of concern me a little bit. Is like, can this guy play if it gets cold out, which is usually the case for 5 or 6 home games a year.
Right. And if he's going to utter that sentence out loud, does he really want to sign a contract with the Denver Broncos, or does he want to stay in the state of Florida or go down to Arizona or somewhere in SoCal or something like that? Yeah, or an indoor team. All right, so Walker, I put it this way. if you get the breaking news alert from Adam Schefter on March 10th, whatever day it is, the Denver Broncos have signed Kenneth Walker to a 3-year, $36 million deal. You going to be excited?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
How could you not be? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, Kenneth Walker's a Super Bowl MVP and the first running back to win the award since our guy Terrell Davis back in the day, which is, you and I were texting about that a little bit. I think it was yesterday. I can't believe it's been that long.
It's crazy.
Since a running back won that award. And yeah, look, Kenneth Walker, I think, is a great running back. He obviously showed that in the Super Bowl, and I think he'd be a very welcomed addition as a 1-2 combo punch with him and R.J. Harvey, or maybe somebody else. We'll see what Denver decides to do via the draft, or if Dobbins is maybe in play, whatever it might be. You would have a tried-and-true number one running back, which it feels like Denver hasn't really had the last few years. Dobbins was that prior to the injury, but when you signed him, other factors potentially. Like, when you sign Kenneth Walker to that deal, you know what you're getting.
Yeah. All right, with the Super Bowl coming and going, it is odd season, and this caught my attention today, Anilo. After a wildly successful regular season, saw the Broncos go 14-3 and take the division crown for the first time since 2015. We've got AFC West odds. Now, we know that when the Super Bowl odds came out, the Broncos are 12th. 12th. Can make a real case they should have won it this year, would have won it if their QB had stayed healthy, yet they have the 12th longest Super Bowl odds. So maybe this shouldn't surprise me, but I look at this as disrespect, man. Flat out disrespect. The Denver Broncos have the third best odds to win their own division.
The same as it was entering in the season, I believe.
Good call. Last time I checked, there's only 4 teams in that division.
Yeah.
The Chargers are the favorites at plus 170. The Chiefs right behind them at plus 175, and Denver checks in at 215. Not a huge gap in the odds makers world, but still, do you find this disrespectful or disheartening even that they are being projected to finish third in the AFC West?
I don't really care. Like, I think that's what I call value, right? For all the people out there that like to play the numbers, right?
There you go.
Having been in that locker room for a majority of the practices, in the press box for the games, and in the locker room after the games, this is a team that I think thrives off of that mindset. And again, this is a team that thought they were going to the Super Bowl. The Bo Nix injury put a thorn in everything with their plans with respect to that. But if the national odds makers and national football fans want to keep sleeping on the Denver Broncos, I think that's a good thing for them. Here's what I will say, too, and I know that this is maybe more of a playoff thought. Look, I think Jim Harbaugh's a good coach. I think Mike McDaniel's an awesome hire for this Los Angeles Chargers team. But, like, what have they shown you what they can do in a big game? Like you're going to tell me that the Los Angeles Chargers are leagues better or worlds better, games better than this Denver Broncos team? What have they shown to warrant that? That's what I don't understand. Is already I'm listening to national talk radio, Chargers this, Chargers that, dark horse Chargers. Did we see Justin Herbert in the playoffs? I mean, seriously, if you had to make me pick between which team is more likely, and I'm taking my bias out of this, Broncos or Chargers to make a run for the Super Bowl, it is the Denver Broncos. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, because the Chargers continuously figure out a way to charger, and Justin Herbert has never shown up in a big game in his life.
Yeah, I love it. Good rant, my man. I want Justin Herbert's PR agency.
You and me both. And I was subscribing to that thought for a while.
Yeah. Like, if you're ever in trouble, hire whoever's representing Justin Herbert. Because this dude gets talked about like he's a top 5 quarterback in the league, and he has not won squat. He's had some nice regular seasons, has not won anything in the postseason, has looked terrible in the playoffs. And Bo Nix is a winner. I don't think Justin Herbert's a winner. Bo Nix is a winner. I about fell off my chair. The Kansas City thing, dude, whatever, I get it. It's Mahomes. He's in the GOAT conversation. Obviously, Brady's still the GOAT in most people's eyes, but Mahomes could get there one day. I understand Chiefs being a bounce-back team. I understand why the odds makers are going to put the Chiefs slightly ahead of the Broncos. Doesn't mean I love it. I understand it. I'm with you, though, dude. The Chargers are the favorites to win the AFC West? What are we doing?
It doesn't make any sense to me. L.A., Harbaugh, the bigger name, right? Like McDaniel.
But they don't have any fans.
Like,
they play in a market without fans.
And I mean, their defense is nice. Give me Denver's defense over theirs, right? And I think Herbert, has maybe more traits that you like, but how often do those traits translate to wins? Whereas we've seen Bo Nix lead this team to win after win after win and improve in his 2 seasons. We've seen Justin Herbert float around the same for his entire career. So I don't get it personally, man. Like, if anything, they should be equal. I would be okay. I can understand and comprehend them being equal, because I do think the Chargers are a competitive team. They made the playoffs last year, right? But at the end of the day, Like, what is up with this Chargers fascination?
Well, you and I are on the same page, but our guy Dante Gomez, who's never afraid to mix it up, has a thought. Dante,
here we go, Dante.
Go for it.
I hate to inform you guys, but the Chargers are winning the division in 2026.
You want to bet that right now?
Sure.
Chipotle?
Absolutely.
Well, what happens if the Chiefs win? It's just a null?
Yeah, well, the Chiefs aren't going to win the division. If anything, I think you should be more offended that the
So
Chiefs
you're
are
one of
listed
these
ahead of
guys,
the
right?
Broncos.
You're not from here, so you're subscribing into this Chargers thought, Justin Herbert.
Yeah, like
Well, the fact that-
educate us. I mean, I like the fact that you're bold and you take a stance, but educate us. Why are the Chargers winning the division?
They went 11-6 and were the most injury-riddled team in the NFL. They were missing both of their
They
tackles.
also lost to the New York Football Giants.
Well, the Broncos should have lost to the New York Football
but did
Giants.
they
Is
lose?
that your bar of
No,
being
I'm
good?
just saying, like, I trust the Broncos a hell of a lot more than I trust the Chargers.
So are you drink? What's your number one factor on this? Are you drinking the Herbert Kool-Aid?
I think Justin
Is it
Herbert's-
a Harbaugh thing?
It's a Harbaugh thing for one. I think he's turned around the culture, and I think that team was really good this last season. Their defense was incredible. Nothing to take away from the Broncos' defense. I think the Broncos' defense was better this last year, but traditionally, if you're a top 3 to 5 defense, you're not a top 3 to 5 defense the following year. So the Broncos are most likely due for a step back defensively, and I think I would take Justin Herbert over Bo Nix. I don't think that's a hot take by any means. I think the coaching's fairly equal, and I think they're going to be able to run the ball a heck of a lot better than the Broncos are going to be able to run the ball, and they have the better quarterback already. You had a weapon on the outside, and
Keep going. I'm just.
they're also playing
Sorry,
a
I couldn't
second.
help myself from sighing that it's not a hot take that Justin Herbert's better than Bo Nix. Based on what? Bo wins. Justin doesn't.
What do you mean? Justin Herbert's in the playoffs like every year.
Yeah, so he can go one and done and turn the ball over 4 times.
He's 0-3 in playoff games. and he's wet the bed in the process every time.
I understand, but he's in the playoffs. He was also incredibly banged up this
and
year.
Bo's 2 for 2.
Yeah,
with
Bo's
making
made the playoffs both. If that's our barometer, Bo's made the playoffs both his seasons.
Okay, well, regardless, I still think most people would agree that Justin Herbert's a better quarterback than Bo Nix is. But that's outside of the point. I just think that team's primed and ready to go. They'll have a slightly easier schedule than the Broncos' first-place schedule. And this obviously doesn't necessarily speak to the Chargers being better than the Broncos, but because both teams are going to have to face this, the NFC opponent next year is the NFC West. And the NFC West was the best division in football this last year. So I think that leads into the Broncos having to step back in their record at least. Obviously, that also impacts the Chargers, so that's equal there. But I just think the Chargers are ready to go, and I think it's hard to repeat the success of having 14 wins. I really do. I don't think you see that very often.
Yeah, you could be onto something there that maybe the number to win the AFC West next year is like 12. Right, based on the fact they have to play the NFC West, and then therefore you wouldn't get the 1 seed most likely, and you'd probably have to go on the road in the playoffs. So that could hurt the whole division. The 1 seed may not be the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Broncos. It could be a team with a softer schedule. So listen, it caught my attention today. Team pretty much should have been in the Super Bowl, and now they're getting 3rd in their own division by the odds makers.
Don't you think it's a little more disrespectful that the Chiefs are listed ahead of them? The Chiefs were terrible this year. Patrick Mahomes is coming off an injury. Not a lot of momentum.
Mahomes earned that, right?
Yeah, I could rationalize that one a little bit more.
Travis Kelce's old. He's not a weapon that he was. I don't know. I'm not as afraid of the Chiefs as I am of the Chargers.
Interesting. Well, the good news is we've got months and months to debate it further. Like I said, it just when I saw that, I sort of raised my eyebrows a little bit. All right, Garrett Bowlesy. We love Bowlesy. Always got something to say. He was talking about Bo Nix. You'll love what Garrett Bowles had to say, and we'll tell you what he did next.
Do the Broncos need a complete overhaul in the tight end room?
And what do we think we're going to do with Ingram here? I wouldn't be upset if we just did the same thing with the tight end room that we did with the running back room. Now, we're not going to move everyone, but you can't bring back Adam Troutman. I'm done with that. It's over with.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
Imagine finding your dream home and moving in right away. No waiting to sell your old place first. Sounds perfect, right? That's exactly what Orchard's Move First, Sell Later program lets you do. Buy your new home now and sell the old one later. Here's how it works. Orchard gives you cash so you can buy and move into your new home first on your timeline. No waiting, no showings, no double moves. Then the Orchard experts take it from there. They handle repairs on your old home for you so you attract the right buyers. Once they're done, a local Orchard agent lists and sells your home for top dollar. Orchard's Move First program gives you the freedom to buy and move into your new home first and sell your old home later. Buy before you sell and get top dollar for your home with Orchard. Ready to find out how much your home is worth? Visit Orchard.com to get your free home valuation. That's Orchard.com.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Winter is in full swing, and Aleve is here to keep you moving. When the cold weather sets in, everyday aches and pains can linger. But Aleve's got your back. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, Aleve keeps you going with long-lasting body pain relief to get you through whatever the season brings. Chilly days or cozy nights, Aleve gives you that long-lasting body pain relief you can count on this winter. Try Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
Hey, Mom. It's me. Oh my gosh, you'll never believe what I just opened for Valentine's Day. A sapphire ring from Helzberg. Just like the one I lost years ago. Remember how excited I was when you gave it to me? I cannot believe you remembered that story. I guess you were right. I really found the one.
This Valentine's Day, create a moment that means something with up to 40% off gifts at Helzberg. Shop in store or at Helzberg.com.
Men, it's the new year, and for many of us, it's a time of deciding to make positive changes in our lives. This is Jeff for the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, and if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction and are tired of the frustration and embarrassment ED causes, you should call the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic today, because there probably isn't a better resolution you can make than to be done with ED. You see, ED doesn't just affect you, it can also affect your partner, even if they don't talk about it. But here's some great news. If you're like most guys, the treatments at the Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic will give you back your sex life, because our protocols have success rates that work in well over 90% of cases. Seriously, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. So, make an appointment and get ED out of your life. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 720-440-7900 or go to RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. That's RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com. We have 5 offices across the Front Range to serve you.
Hey, it's Mike Evans. Let's talk about your hair. If you're losing it and desire it back, then do what I did and go see Dr. Tanya Pauls at Advanced Hair Restoration. Their simple one-day treatment offers life-changing results that I can personally attest to. Guys, it's not magic, but close to it. They put hair where you need it the most, and bam, it grows. It's actually science. Advanced Hair has it all. Top-rated Dr. Tanya Pauls, modern technology, and best of all, you get your very own natural hair that begins regrowing the very next day. Advanced Hair even guarantees it to grow for life. So schedule your free consultation today. Call 720-459-HAIR and you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. That's 720-459-HAIR. Advanced Hair is the winner of Westward's Best of Denver, and they've changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. Become inspired with the before and afters at advancedhair.com. That's advancedhair.com.
Hi, I'm Terrell Davis, 2-time world champion and Pro Football Hall of Famer. There is nothing more important than your health. That's why I made the smart move to invest in fitness equipment with Fitness Gallery. It's a game changer.
This February, save 25% off all primetime functional trainers, home gyms, and racks. Work out on your schedule on the equipment you choose from the safety and comfort of your own home. Save up to 50% off on select premium equipment. Visit one of Fitness Gallery's 7 convenient locations from Colorado Springs to Fort Collins.
It's Denver Sports Tonight on Denver Sports Station 105.
What do you make of, is Mike McDaniel going to be the one who can finally unlock Justin Herbert? He's obviously had very good regular seasons, but in the biggest of big games, how much of a scary addition is Mike McDaniel to the Chargers in your eyes?
Oh, it's a big addition. Look, I think Mike McDaniel obviously one of the more creative offensive play callers in modern NFL history. We saw what he did with Tua Tagovailoa early in his tenure with the Miami Dolphins, of course, going back to San Francisco when he was calling plays over there. I think it is a big-time hire for this Chargers team, but I think Mike McDaniel will help this Chargers team, but the biggest question I have about the Chargers is Justin Herbert himself between the ears when the lights are the brightest. I don't know what Mike McDaniel is going to be able to do to help that or remedy that situation.
Yeah, exactly. And Big Perm chimes in and says the Chargers are always one of the most injury-riddled teams each season. Chargers gonna Charger. I love that, Big Perm. It feels like they're always beat up. The 5147 says stat for stat, Herbert is better than Bo. Okay, sure, you can throw a box score in front of me and maybe Justin Herbert has flashier numbers, but I'm going to use the eye test. And to me, Bo Nix is a winner and sort of thrives in the biggest moments, whereas Justin Herbert kind of shrivels in some of those moments. Many texts coming in about the Chargers injury prone. And the 2153 says, I don't understand what has Justin Herbert done better than Bo Nix. That's from Mike. I agree with you, Mike. I think that text was directed at Dante, who we love, but Mike, you're on the same page with Anilo and I here that, just blanket statements, and I'm not saying Dante made a blanket statement, but there are people who will make blanket statements that Justin Herbert is better than Bo Nix. Based on what evidence, I'm not so sure.
I'm with you 100%. And look, I think you could make a very strong case for either of the three teams to come out of the AFC West. Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos. I think the thing that I'm trying to rationalize and I'm questioning is why all of a sudden are the Chargers ahead of the Broncos, even the Chiefs for that matter, when the Broncos won the division, split with them, albeit the last game no one really played anybody in that situation. Like, what have the Chargers done outside of the Mike McDaniel coaching hire to warrant, and I guess the thought of bouncing back from injuries to warrant this price? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's disrespectful to the Broncos who went out there and dealt with some injuries across the season as well. J.K. Dobbins you're looking at, Pat Surtain for a handful of weeks, right? And they still managed to win 14 games. So that's kind of where I'm at. Is again, I think you can make. Would it shock me if the Chargers won the division? No, it wouldn't. But to put them as the favorites ahead of even the Chiefs, who I think are probably going to have a bounce back year, that's the part that I don't understand. And it feels like the Chargers are a team that just build you up to tear you down. I mean, you go back to when I forget their old coach's name, but when Phillip Rivers was the quarterback, right? They'd have these good regular seasons. LaDainian Tomlinson, they do good things.
You think Norv Turner?
And then Norv Turner.
Or Marty
who was the guy
Schottenheimer?
after? No, even more McCoy.
Oh, Mike McCoy.
Yeah.
Former had some cups of coffee with the Broncos in the coordinator
Anthony
role.
Lynn, I believe, was the coach after him as well. I mean,
then who was the bozo who always went for it on fourth down? Brandon Staley.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
See, now that's it from a Charger fan, the three of them that are out there in existence. Like, they kept him way too long. I think bringing in Jim Harbaugh was a massive move for them. They significantly underachieved under Brandon Staley. They're a very respectable team now with Jim Harbaugh. When the lights are brightest, I can't trust them. And that's just history. That's history telling me that, Will. Nothing else.
I want to pay off the tease because Garrett Bowles said what we are all thinking. Basically, that the Broncos would have been in the Super Bowl had Bo Nix been healthy and faced the Patriots in the AFC title game. Bowles was on the NFL Daily podcast with Greg Rosenthal and Jordan Rodriguez and made some interesting comments. He said, quote, I'm saying it would be a different outcome if we had our starting quarterback. I think it was devastating for all of us when that happened. I thought it wasn't true. Bo took us there. He had a phenomenal year, and when you lose a guy like that, that's the leader of your group, not just the O-line, but your team. His confidence level, his swagger, his ability to run and see the open field in different ways, it's a tough piece to lose. So I'm saying it would have been a different outcome, direct quote from Garrett Bowles. The host pressed him, would Denver win the game with Nix, and his answer was yeah. And then he also said, quote, I'll tell you this, if we had Bo Nix, it would be a different ballgame. So Garrett Bowles all but says on this podcast that the Broncos would have won the AFC with a healthy Bo Nix. Not the first guy to say it. We saw Pat Surtain hint at that with Kay Adams, Nick Bonito. We saw Cortland Sutton make some viral comments in San Francisco about how the Broncos would have been in the Super Bowl. Everyone knows the Broncos would have been in the Super Bowl. How do you read these comments from these guys? Are you sort of like, hey, I love it, one of us. They're a member of Broncos country. They have two eyes. They have a brain. They realize if Bo's healthy, they're in the Super Bowl. Or do you think that's the break, that's sports, a little bit of revisionist history here?
Kind of a combination of the two. Here's what I will say, though. I'll give him till this week. after this week, we got to flush this down the toilet, right? Like, the season is over. Like, let's move on. I can understand being emotional and feeling some type of way in the week leading up to the Super Bowl, the days after the championship game, during the Super Bowl.
Well, and real quick, I don't want to cut you off, but to be fair to Garrett Bowles, he made these comments over the weekend before the Super Bowl.
I missed the context.
They're
on
not
that
super fresh today. They were like 72 hours ago.
Right, and I even think that I'm happy to have these conversations. I am, but if this is the if this is the talking point going into next season, oh Bo, if we have this, if we have that, that's not the right mentality that you have to go into with this next season, right? I understand it was extremely unfortunate. It's a terrible break. Sports stink. Injuries suck. I get all of that. I'm sympathetic to all of that. And again, you bring up Nick Bonito. I was standing, you and I are a couple of feet apart. I was that close to Nick Bonito when he made those comments about, they felt like they were the better team against the New England Patriots. Just, if you have Bo out there, it's probably a different outcome. I get it. I feel the exact same way. But I need to see this team, and again, you mentioned it's over the weekend, but the next time we hear from the players and leading up to the draft, that cannot be the primary conversation. I know it will be on the networks, one game away if they have Bo, but this team has got to refocus and recalibrate for this upcoming season.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think the comments were all fair game when they happened. They all happened before the Super Bowl. The emotions were still really raw that it was New England out there in Santa Clara and not them. But yeah, it's time to turn the page, right? Not just for the players, the organization, but probably Broncos country as well. Now, that doesn't mean you have to get over it. I'm still not over the Raheem Moore thing. That happened 13 years ago at this point. Like, no one's telling you.
Let the fans compartmentalize that.
Right. No one's telling you as a fan to get over it. Doesn't mean you have to get over it. But also, none of us have a time machine. We can't change the past. And as much as, I agree with Garrett Bowles. I think he's spitting facts. Different outcome if Bo Nix is the quarterback. It's probably time. It's probably time to and again, Garrett didn't do anything wrong. I'm just bringing these up tonight for the first time. He said these a few days ago. But what do you think the tone will be at the Combine? Because that's the next time we'll hear, and we'll get to hear from Sean and George. What do you think it'll be like up there in Indianapolis here in the next 2-ish weeks or so?
I think George will play the politically correct card. I don't think we'll hear too much about it from George. I'm sure Sean will have some comment along the lines of, Bo's out there, right? Kind of one of those off-the-cuff comments like we hear from Sean. But I actually think the conversation centering around Sean, one of the first 2 or 3 questions is going to be who's calling plays for the Broncos.
Oh, sure. That'll probably be question 1.
That'll be the primary theme, and then what are you looking for? And I'm sure it'll be some combination of playmaking, skill position player. I don't think we'll get a lean, whether it's running back, tight end, wide receiver. I don't think that will creep up too much, though. I'm sure Sean will make a comment in jest. I don't know. He says he's not going to be funny with the media anymore after what happened this season, but I guess we shall see.
Yeah, but you did just plant that thought in my head. How viral will Sean Payton go? Because when Bowles says it gets some headlines. When Cortland says it gets headlines. When Pat gets it says headlines. What if Sean can't help himself? And he gets to that podium in Indianapolis and says, yeah, we would have probably won the Super Bowl if Bo didn't break his ankle. Something along those lines. Because what did he say last year? We felt real good about that next matchup. Meaning if they had beaten the Bills, he thought they could have gone into Arrowhead and beaten the Chiefs. He just says stuff. He tells you how he's truly feeling. If Sean makes a comment like that, it'll set the NFL world on fire for a day or two.
Oh, I could see the aggregate Twitter accounts. Robbed. Sean Payton says Broncos would have won Super Bowl if Bo Nix was not hurt for championship game, right? I could see it right now. That's just who Sean is. I like it. It's good for us. Gives us good conversation. And you know what? He's allowed to believe that because I think all of us here in Broncos country believe that, right? And look, maybe if Bo's playing, if Bo's playing in the game, maybe the Patriots switch up the game plan a little bit. I guess we'll never know, right? But I think we all feel pretty darn confident in Denver's ability to go out there and win the game, protect their home field, a place where they, up until that game against the Patriots, had only lost once in the last year and a half worth of games as well. So now I'm excited. I'm excited for the Combine.
Yeah, you know what's funny is you don't think of press conferences usually
Luka Evans with the question,
as must-see TV, but the folks at the Broncos do a great job. They stream all these press conferences. Sean Payton at the Combine, that might be must-see TV. I might set an alert on your phone. If Broncos are live, I'm tuning in because Sean certainly, he'll talk for like a half hour. We know that much. He may say some interesting things about the fate of the Broncos if Bo Nix had not broken his ankle. And speaking of injuries, there was another big one in Denver sports today. Maybe not the team you think. We'll give you details next.
Has a troubling trend about the Denver Nuggets been discovered before the All-Star break?
They are not thriving, or in these cases, I guess even surviving, against these really physical basketball teams. And this is how it's going to feel in the NBA playoffs.
Denver Sports 104.3. The Fan.
I remember brushing my hair and looking down and thinking, oh my gosh, do I have any hair left?
I used to look at women with thick, beautiful hair and think, why doesn't my hair look like that?
My thinning hair is making me feel so old.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. With clinically proven ingredients like apple extract, biotin, and millet, Hair Volume nourishes your hair follicles to promote thicker, healthier-looking hair. Say goodbye to shedding, thin, and dull hair, and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume.
Since taking Hair Volume, the shedding has all but stopped.
Now, instead of being jealous of other women's hair, I have friends who are jealous of mine.
My hairdresser couldn't believe the difference in my hair. Now she's using Hair Volume too.
Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com, or find Hair Volume in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Hey guys, your boy Mark Schlereth here for my friends at Xfinity. Now, when Team USA is on, you can almost see the moment when the kid starts believing, hey, I could be next. Now, while Xfinity can't guarantee that, they can guarantee something super important. That's your internet price won't change for 5 years. No contracts, no commitments. So, while your kid's ordering online or streaming highlight reels, your Xfinity internet price won't change. It will not budge. And who knows, by the time the next Winter Olympics roll around, your kid could be getting fitted for their very own Team USA uniform. And guess what? You'll be paying the same price for reliable Wi-Fi. And there's even more to enjoy with Xfinity Gold Medal Celebration. Now through February 22nd, get our best price on gig Wi-Fi for 5 years guaranteed, just $50 a month. Plus, get Peacock Premium included for 10 years. That's a $10.99 value each month. Xfinity, imagine that. Proud partner of Team USA. Restrictions applies. Requires paperless billing and auto-paid with stored bank account. Taxes, fees, extras. Actual speeds may vary.
With Progressive's Name Your Price tool, you can choose the best coverage option for you. Because you know you. Like, you know that hiking isn't for you. Sure, it sounds nice to be in nature while exercising, but that's what a gym and houseplants are for. I mean, you don't even like walking upstairs. So why would you walk up a hill for miles? To what, end up high in the air? Come on, you know you're scared of heights. Only you know you. So get coverage options within your budget with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Having insurance isn't the same as having State Farm. It's like needing a lawyer, but getting some guy who just watches courtroom dramas.
How does the defendant plead?
Guilty.
Wait, what?
Also, objection.
You object to what?
Erroneous.
Counsel, approach the bench.
Hey, can I get a whack at the gavel?
You wouldn't settle for just any lawyer, so don't settle for just any insurance. Get the real deal with State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic, made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side, your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. And now, during our President's Day sale, take 50% off our limited edition bed, plus free premium delivery with any bed and base. Ends Monday. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
When your check engine light comes on, do you see a repair bill or do you see peace of mind? For 20 years, CarShield's been the name America trusts to help keep you on the road. While other companies stop covering you when your car gets older, CarShield offers protection plans up to 200,000 miles. With over $1 billion in claims paid, we don't just promise protection, we deliver it. Don't let a breakdown break your budget. Get the flexible month-to-month coverage you deserve. Go to carshield.com. That's carshield.com today.
This segment on 104.3 The Fan's brought to you by Fitness Gallery, selling the world's finest fitness equipment.
Stay up to date on the Broncos and the latest news from around the league with our NFL insider James Palmer, exclusively on Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan. Mondays on The Rundown with Richie Carney, Tuesday afternoons on The Drive, and Friday mornings on Stokely and Evans with Mark Schlereth, all season long. Denver Sports 104.3 The Fan, DenverSports.com, and the Denver Sports app. Denver Sports Station 104.3 The Fan presents Denver Sports Tonight.
All right, I love this text from the 9198. You said that none of us have a time machine. Correction. The judge, Dan Jacobs, has a time machine. Picture of the DeLorean. I love it.
That's awesome.
Yes. None of us except for the judge. Love going on with Dan on the weekends. Love listening to him on the weekends. Very entertaining program and a good text there. All right, big injury today in Denver sports. Shouldn't be surprising. Nonetheless, still frustrating. Chris Bryant heads to the 60-day DL for the Colorado Rockies. Anilo, this guy has not played a professional baseball game since April 12th. 10 months. Pitchers and catchers headed down to spring training. Whole squad there soon.
Sheesh.
And he's already on the 60-day DL? What is going on? And I got to just put it out there. How is this guy not retired yet?
Because he's got guaranteed money. If he stays on the roster, he's getting paid, right? If he retires, I think he forfeits that money, or at least a portion of it. So, I mean, that's the thought process. I mean, it is a sunk cost at this point. It is an egregious contract. Some might say the worst in Denver sports history. I know Russell Wilson comes to mind. Kevin Kistner made a good point. He said Russ because he never played a game on the new contract for the Denver Broncos. But, I mean, when you have a 162-game season, he played, 11 games last year? And he's the guy that you brought in to kind of have some star power after you flipped Nolan Arenado for a bag of peanuts to St. Louis. I mean, the optics on this deal are just absolutely horrendous. And I think I saw it from Troy Rank today on social media of the Denver Post, great columnist, one of my good friends as well. The one silver lining in all of this is because you have Paul DePodesta in the front office, the Rockies are no longer going to spin this as Chris Bryant's going to come back, he's going to be an impactful player. I think DePodesta in this front office realized that if they get anything out of Chris Bryant at this point, it's total gravy and the cherry on top. I don't think there's a firm plan in place for Chris Bryant at this point. I feel like they've turned the page on this contract, despite it still being on the books.
Yeah, but it just feels like this black cloud hanging over the franchise, right?
Well, at least there's no salary cap in baseball.
True, there's no salary cap, but still, it's,
it sucks.
You're not paying anyone else. I mean, what did they do in free agency? Nothing.
The biggest moment of Chris Bryant's Rockies tenure is when he went back to Wrigley Field and got a standing ovation playing for Colorado.
I can't even say I remember that. I mean, it's just been such
the crazy numbers on social. That's the only reason I remember.
Yeah, but it's just been such a lackluster time. And it's funny. You know where I was when the Chris Bryant news broke that he was signing this lucrative $180 million deal with the Rockies? I was at Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit, sitting in their auditorium right after the Russell Wilson press conference had finished.
Oh, those were that back-to-back, huh?
So think about how long ago that was. Broncos trade for Russ. He comes in a few days later, does the presser. All of Denver media's there. It's Russ saying he wants to play 10 more years, win 3 to 4 more Super Bowls. And we're all sitting there kind of working on our stories, wrapping up, whatever. And people start going, did you see what the Rockies just did? They just gave Chris Bryant $180 million. That feels like a lifetime ago, bro.
It does.
The day Russell Wilson got introduced and we were all excited and no one thought it was ridiculous that he went up there and said, I'm going to play 10 more years and win 3 to 4 more Lombardis. I'm talking within an hour. That's when Chris Bryant put pen to paper on this deal. He's played in 170 games with the Rockies. Honestly, that feels high to me.
It does.
You could have told me it was
half
half
at the
that.
beginning.
Yeah, I guess.
Because how long has he been dealing with this injury? 2-3 years now? At least 2 years. I think this will be year 3.
But there's just no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no hope. I mean, the guy went on the 60-day DL today. I saw some tweets out there. He's ineligible to play till a certain point in the season at this point. Like, again, I understand your point about the money and why he might not retire because he can collect the checks. But this is just, I'm not saying he's not working hard. I'm not questioning his work ethic. I'm sure he's just as frustrated as everyone else. But this has just become an embarrassing situation for the organization.
Oh, it's an absolute joke. I mean, there's no other way to slice it. But again, I guess I'm a baseball guy, right? And the ironic and funny part of this is like pitchers and catchers report, and I understand the Rockies have been down and out for a minute now, but like it should warm the soul a little bit, right? It's like, oh, pitchers and catchers, football's done, right? You should get at least a little charm, a little excitement about the sport starting up once again. And you've just got this contract hanging over you like a black cloud. And I think the one thing that keeps me somewhat optimistic is this is a pre-DePodesta move. And I understand it's still present. You're still going to be staring in the face, but I don't think it'll impact the Rockies the same way like maybe it has the last few years.
But I think it'll impact spending. I think Dick.
But they weren't going to spend a ton anyway.
Okay, but I think Dick and Walker will say you can't spend until we get this off the books.
Yeah, but my counter to that is I don't think the Rockies really need to spend over the next year or two. I think the first year or two of the DePodesta era is about getting this thing back on track from a stability standpoint. I mean, getting the farm system right, getting the analytics department right. I mean, you have to tear this thing down and build it up. I don't need to see DePodesta go out there and spend money left and right. I need to see him rebuild this thing like it's a new house, right? So now's not the time for the Rockies to spend money. That's the point.
All right. Well, this new house doesn't even have a foundation yet.
Yeah.
You know what we got? We got an empty plot of land. Do what you want, Paul DePodesta, but there's no blueprints.
They got the best bar in Denver, Coors Field.
I'm kind of sick of that. I'm not going to lie.
Hey, man, give me the $10 seats. I'll go sit behind home and have a good time. I'm part of the problem.
How do you get $10 seats behind home plate?
Oh, you just walk down, bro.
Oh.
At least last year.
So they're not actually $10.
No.
You just
but
spend
you could
$10.
Our guy Jake Shapiro last year when Paul Skeens was in town, I think sat like, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 rows behind home plate for like $50 for Paul Skeens, the Cy Young Award winner.
That's what Dick Monfort likes to hear, baby.
I know. I'm part of the problem.
I'm
a baseball
dollars.
guy.
All right. It was fun. It flew by. For Dante and Anilo, I'm Will. It's DST on the Fan.
Tune into The Rundown with Richie Carney every weekday at noon on YouTube, Facebook, or X. Presented in part by the Birdie Bar, Louisville's premier indoor golf bar experience. Check out this week's live music trivia and